Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our English for academic and professional purposes subject. And today we will be talking about paraphrasing and direct coding. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to identify the features of paraphrasing and direct coding, differentiate summarizing, paraphrasing, and direct coding, paraphrase various texts, and write direct quotations. Aside from summarizing, there are other skills that can help you to encapsulate the ideas or concepts in the text effectively. So these are paraphrasing and direct coding. Let us define what is paraphrasing. Paraphrasing means completely rewriting or rephrasing all the ideas in an original text while still retaining the meaning of the original text. There will be changes when it comes to the use of words, but the meaning is still there. There will be no changes about the meaning of that certain text. Meanwhile, direct coding means using the exact words of the author and putting them inside the parentheses or the quotation marks. Both of this, paraphrasing and direct coding, should include citations. In academic writing, paraphrasing and summarizing are more preferred than direct coding because too many direct quotes do not make the paper look scholarly. Now let's check the similarities and differences of summarizing, paraphrasing, and direct coding. Under summarizing, it does not match the source word for word, and also it involves putting the main ideas into your own words but including only the main points. Also, in summarizing, you are going to present a broad overview, so it's usually much shorter than the original text. And of course, it must be attributed to the original source. In paraphrasing, it does not match the source word for word. And also, it involves putting a passage from a source into your own words. Another, it changes the words or phrasing of a passage, but also it retains and fully communicates the original meaning. And of course, it must be attributed to the original source. Let's proceed to the direct coding. It matches the source word for word. It is usually a short part of the text. Cited part appears between quotation marks and it must be attributed to the original source. So these are the similarities and differences of the three skills. Now let's check the example. Now I'll be showing you an original passage as an example and also example for its summary as well as the paraphrased version and the direct quotation. Let us read the example. What is plagiarism? In minor cases, it can be the quotation of a sentence or two without quotation marks and without a citation. Example, the footnote to the true author. In the most serious cases, a significant fraction of the entire work was written by someone else, but the plagiarist removed the author's names and substituted his or her name. Perhaps did some reformatting of the text, then submitted the work for credit in a class. Example, a term paper or an essay. As part of the requirements for a degree, example, thesis, dissertation, or as part of a published article or book. Also, we have here the reference. Now, the summarized version of that original passage is this. Plagiarism can be defined as using ideas, data, or any relevant information of another without giving proper credit or acknowledgement. Standler, 2012. What do you think is the format used in summarizing the original passage? You are correct, that is the idea heading format, wherein the summarized idea comes before the citation. Now let's take a look at the paraphrased version of the original text. So according to Standard 2012, plagiarism can occur in small cases, which happens when small parts of a passage are used without enclosing them in quotation marks and citing the author. It can also occur in more grave situations. In these instances, big chunks of the original text are used. There are changes in the format, but the original author is not attributed to, and the work is claimed as plagiarist's own and submitted to comply with academic requirements or as part of the material for publication. So the examples of paraphrase and summary show that the original text is rewritten based on the message conveyed and the ideas presented by the author. So less of the original works is presented in the summary, and the source is properly cited. So in the paraphrase, all the ideas in the original text are still mentioned, but the wording and structure are completely different. Now here is the direct quotation. Standard 2012 states that plagiarism can be the quotation of a sentence or two without quotation marks and without citation. Example, footnote to the true author. There is a page indicated there. The example shows that the words appear between the quotation marks are the original words or ideas of the author, and proper citation is also used. Let's talk about when to use paraphrasing, summarizing, and direct quoting. Paraphrase a short text with one or two sentences or a paragraph with a maximum of 5 sentences. So you paraphrase when you want to avoid or minimize direct quotations or rewrite the author's words by not changing the message or use your own words to state the author's ideas. In summarizing, you summarize a text that has long sections. Example, a page of a chapter of a book or the book itself, a paragraph of an essay or the essay itself. Also, a paragraph of an essay or the essay itself. So you can summarize when you want to avoid or minimize direct quotation, or use the main idea when the text and write it in your own words. Next, we have the direct quoting. Quote a text that conveys a powerful message or show less impact if it is paraphrased or summarized. Example, we have the Constitution, government documents, philosophies, monograph, or other scholarly materials. So you can directly quote when you want to begin your discussion with the author's stance or highlight the author's expertise in your claim, argument, or discussion. Now let's talk about the guidelines in paraphrasing. First is to read the text and understand the meaning. You do not stop reading until you understand the message conveyed by the author, because if you don't understand something, you cannot paraphrase it effectively, and you will be having difficulty in paraphrasing it. Second is to use a pen to underline or highlight the keywords or main ideas of the text. It will help you a lot. Third is to recall the keywords or main idea of the text that you highlighted when you read it. Fourth, write in your own words what you understood about the ideas in the text. So after highlighting the main ideas, after getting the main ideas, after recalling the main ideas that is present in the text, you can now start writing it into your own words based on what you have understood about the ideas. Fifth is get the original text and compare it with your paraphrase. And sixth is to check the meaning. Remember, your paraphrase should have the same meaning as the original text. So you should not change the meaning of the text that you are going to paraphrase. Next is to check the sentence structure. So the sentence structure of your paraphrase should be different from the original text. 8. Number 8 is to refrain from adding comments about the text. It is important that you should stick to the ideas that is being presented in the text. Number 9, compare your output to the original text to ensure accuracy and remove redundant ideas. It is always important to recheck everything and to compare from the original text so that you can see which is wrong, so that you can eliminate the ideas that are not necessary. Number 10 is to record the details of the original source. So take note of the author's name, date of publication, title, publisher, and also place of publishing, and URL if it is online. So make sure to have this information because you will be needing it for citing your sources. And lastly is to format your paraphrase properly. So when you combine your paraphrases in paragraph, use different formats to show variety in writing, just like in summarizing. Now let's talk about the guidelines in direct quoting. We only have 4. I would like to remind you that direct quotation should not be used to rephrase or to replace paraphrasing or summarizing. So in direct quoting, it is important to copy the part of the text that you want to use, word for word. You copy everything that you want to use. Second is to use quotation marks to show the beginning and the ending of the quote so that the readers can identify which one is being quoted. Third is to record the details of the original source. Take note of the author's name, date of publication, title, publisher, and also place of publishing, and URL if it is online. And of course, don't forget to include the page number because it is necessary in citing your sources when it comes to direct quoting. So you should take note of the page as well. Lastly is to format your quotation properly. So those are the guidelines in paraphrasing and direct quoting. And also we have the reporting verbs when paraphrasing and direct quoting. Reporting verbs are also used in paraphrasing and direct quoting to integrate your sources in the text. So that's it for our lesson for today. I hope guys that you have learned something. And if you have questions, feel free to raise them.